Welcome, everyone, to this year's 2025 Year in Review for Climate Action Tech. Um, in the presentation today, we'll set the context for CAT in 2025. We'll reflect on the year with project highlights and updates on the community structure, and we'll share some member projects as well as our goals for 2026. For those of you who are new, most of you here are long-term members, but for those who are new, this is our theory of change and it outlines what happens at CAT. So we're a community of practice for climate concerned tech workers. So we basically have discussions on Slack and virtual and at virtual and in-person events in order to learn together about sustainability in the tech industry and to support each other in taking climate action. And then our members take what they've learned in the community and implement it in the real world. And that can look like greening your code or calculating the emissions of your office space or giving a presentation on the environmental impacts of software. And there will be, as I said, some examples later about member projects and actions, but first we'll talk about the shifts we've seen in the tech landscape and in the CAT community this year. So for our reflections, we have seen the conversations in CAT evolve. New topics have been emerging, and this year, CATs have talked more about repair and about open source, both as ways to extend the life of our devices and also to become independent from big tech giants. And the second big topic that has cropped up is AI. It's definitely everywhere, and at CAT we've been learning about it, figuring out when it's useful, when it isn't, and how we can reduce the impact of AI. And a side effect of the AI race that we've also observed is the reduced focus on climate action in companies. So it's harder to get stuff done in green teams, and that's also why CAT remains super important as this space outside of work where we can try new things, ask these very difficult questions, and support each other in taking climate action. Now, you might remember that last year we set ourselves some goals. We wanted to keep supporting things that work. So that includes the Slack, the newsletter, the events, the blog posts. We wanted to enable more member projects with our mini grants program, and we wanted to implement a CAT restructure. And we'll go deeper into all of those topics shortly, but the short overview is that for keeping stuff that works, we've been successful at that. We've even surpassed our goals for regular blog posts and events, and we activated our LinkedIn presence thanks to Sid, our volunteer. And then number two, we didn't quite succeed in enabling more member projects with mini grants, but member projects happened nonetheless, thanks to a lot of voluntary work from many CAT members, banding together, doing new things, trying things out. So that was great to see. And then the restructure, we've been successful with that as well. Melissa on the CAT organizing team was the driving force there, and we've established the assembly and brought 2 new organizers and 8 new volunteers on board this year. And with that fresh organizer power, we also had a mid-year checkpoint where we set ourselves a new objective and some key results. So the new goal was to activate our volunteers and members in order to improve the community health. So in the second half of the year, we tried to, 1, find new ways of measuring our community health, 2, activate the community with our programs and projects. And on that former point, activating the community with our programs and projects. Oh no, on the former point was the one about finding new ways of measuring. And this is where our CAT organizer, Eugene, who joined us this year, implemented a bot to track our stats more easily. So with this self-hosted implementation, we can track Slack posts across the channels. We don't save the content of the posts or the identity of the posters as per our community rules. But we do get a better sense of when CAT activity is higher, and we can start to link that to the projects that we run. And speaking of which, we'll swap over to our projects. So we ran a bunch of different projects and programs this year to activate volunteers and members. And we've sorted these projects by our theory of change focus areas. So the first section is going to be about enabling connection, and the second one is going to be about developing a shared understanding. Starting with enabling connection. We did that primarily through the Slack community and through the online and in-person events. And we've got this lovely stats slide here. So we had lots of active cats talking on Slack this year and meeting through our Cat Roulette program as well. We'll talk more about that in a second. And we had 371 registrations for our 22 online events and 8 official in-person events. But yeah, what exactly did we do to enable those connections in the community on Slack and during the events? Number one, Slack is the core of our community. And to enable connections on Slack, we've ensured that our channels are clear. We removed unused channels, added new ones when new topics emerged, like the repair, the open source, and most recently the climate obstruction channel. And this last one is where we will discuss greenwashing and disinformation campaigns, lobbying strategies, and stuff like that. And our volunteer channel hosts and moderators also ensured the conversations were safe and spam and other incidents were resolved swiftly. And cat volunteer Chris took this channel host role a step further, trying out something new. So over to you, Chris.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks, Sandra, and welcome. Thank everyone for joining. So yeah, I actually did think this channel, that's the question idea channel. I think about a couple of months ago, and we kind of like wanted to like see how we could continue to improve the engagement in the channel, and then also see how we can probably I would say streamline the engagement as well to have like specific themes for each month. And the goal was simple. I mean, just to align the community around one idea each month, and then also to encourage deeper engagement across that, specific to that idea, and then also across the community. And we launched what we call like teams, monthly teams. Started, I think we've done about 3 this year, and I would say it's been really insightful and exciting. Getting a lot of engagements, interesting insights as we shared across, these 3 themes. So the first one was around responsible AI, and I think that had like the highest likes because that was the first, had the highest reactions, I would say. And then the next was on the COP30. We had like really encouraging, really insightful, engagement there as well, and also a very good insights that was shared by a CAT member. We also just had one just posted a couple of weeks in, I think last week or so, and that's also like getting good engagement. So yeah, that's pretty much it for what we did. What I did was able to like accomplish here with the channel question idea, and then hopefully we get into the new year. The plan is to also continue to streamline these teams, and then also encourage more engagement across the teams and the channel and the community as a whole. Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Amazing. Thank you, Chris. Yeah, if you are on the Slack, definitely jump into the questions and ideas channel. The latest theme is on reflection, and there's been a lot of interesting stuff already shared there about what people do at the end of the year and how they reflect on their work. Another idea that we tried out this year that came up through one of the volunteer meetings. So we're posting regular nudges in our Greener Tech channel now, for cats to share their goals and their climate action to both build accountability, but also inspire each other and enable connections. Then Aram and Brett are not here today, but the 2 of them are volunteers for the Cat Roulette program. And this is a program where every 2 weeks, cats who are in the channel get matched with others who pick the same time zone option. And this year we tried something new with themed rounds, again, similar to what Chris was just sharing as well. And in these rounds, we asked folks to base their conversations on climate careers, spooky AI questions, and year-end reflections. And the challenge ahead with Cat Roulette is to make sure that more matched members follow through and meet, because at the moment our meeting rate is about 40%. And yeah, that's the goal for next year. That's it for enabling connections on Slack, but we also enabled connections on events or during events. So first up, Owen to talk about the book club.
Hey everyone. So this year we restarted or relaunched the CAT Book Club. We met 3 times to review and discuss different books. So the first book that we went through is Digital Degrowth by Michael Kvet. Insolvent was the next book by Dr. Christopher Becker. And then recently we had a somewhat impromptu meeting talking about Moral Ambition by Rutger Bregman. For Insolvent, we were actually quite fortunate. The author of the book chose to join us for the discussion, and that was really, really great. Turned into a bit of a Q&A with the author. Anyway, planning to keep this going for 2026. The way that it works is we collaboratively pull together some book options, vote on it, and then select one, and then in a month or two, then meet together as a group and discuss what we've learned. Everybody's welcome. Join the CAT Book Club channel if you're interested in learning more. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Owen. Another event series that started this year was the System Series. Sid.
Hi. So basically, we had an amazing series called System Series, which is we are trying to bring systems thinking into the way we think about tech. The purpose of which was to help us grasp the full scope of sustainability challenges within the tech industry, rather than just focusing at tech from tech perspective. As to when we think about sustainability, it's just carbon that comes into mind, but there's much more. That's what Systems Series is all about. So what we do in this, what we did in this series, what we co-created a vision for sustainable tech as to what kind of future we are aspiring for, when we think about sustainable tech. Then we mapped the current reality of, unsustainable tech using something called as causal loop diagrams, which is a tool in systems thinking, where we can understand which are the variables, how they're interacting, and what is causing unsustainable tech. So that is what we did using MiroBot. Then after that, we talked about, what can be fundamental interventions rather than just symptomatic interventions, which are more long-term. So we thought about what kind of long-term interventions can we design. So this was the part of the initial series. Now what we are doing is we are, we are extending the series. Like, for example, one of the events we did was, tackling wicked problems as to what kind of wicked problems exist in tech, which are the complex problems. So we again use causal loop diagrams and understand what this kind of wicked problems are there, and from a systemic lens. So you can check the blog post. This is a series which is co-facilitated by me and John. And you can check out the blog post for. Also, you are welcome to join as a facilitator if you're interested to take this series. So that would be great. We have new member joining us. So thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you, Sid. Then for some in-person stuff, CATs have gathered in person at the Green I/O events in London, in New York, and in Paris this year. And we showed up there to raise awareness about climate and tech and to inspire action in the wider industry. And again, just as last year, we had CAT speaking on stage, promoting the community at our booth. And this was also a great opportunity for many CATs to meet in person, either for the first time or again after a year. And in Paris, we tried something new as well, and we co-hosted the first ever hybrid talk at Green I/O. And we're hoping to build on that momentum and the great relationship that we've got with the folks from Green I/O next year as well. Speaking of in person, here's another one, Fiona.
Thanks. Ours was hyper local, so we met up in Switzerland. We organized a hackathon. The picture on the right is the group of organizers and attendees and participants on the day. Everyone in the green shirt in the front is an organizer. What we wanted to do really is to raise awareness, get more engagement, get people really hands-on. For a day, they put aside all their other work and just focused on the challenges that we put together for them. And we had 2 tracks. One was Mobilize, which was looking at influencing positive change around green IT, and the other one was Build, which was the more techie one, so improving existing open source or green IT tools. Some of the projects that came out of it were actually very, very impressive. The objective of the day is not to spin off new startups, but some of the ideas that were there are, I think, startup worthy. You can read more about it in the blog post. It's the second hackathon we've done in Zurich in 2 years. I'm currently recruiting people to organize with me for next year. So fingers crossed that we get to repeat again next year. What was great is I thought I was organizing it for Zurich, but we ended up having people from all across Switzerland traveling just for the day to be there, which was really, really cool.
Amazing. Thank you, Fiona. And then the last little bit in terms of events, we've got the Responsible AI series and Heather.
Yeah, so we, with obviously the prevailing rise of AI, we decided that we wanted to run a series, and especially based on all the conversations that have been going on. So the purpose of this is to build awareness around the impacts of AI and provide tools and ways to use them in a more sustainable way. So helping people navigate the new technology and the mixed messages. So we've done that so far in a couple of ways. The first one was a kickoff workshop run by Paolo from CAT. And that looked at how AI shows up in our daily work, and we shared stories and reflections in group setting and also in breakouts. Excuse me. And then in the second one, which was run locally in London by Maxime, who's on the call, we did an AI battle card game developed by Latitudes and Data for Good. And it sparked debate. And we had, again, some nice little breakout sessions talking about how we view AI. And yeah, it was really, really good conversation. So we're going to continue these into the new year. We're going to try to do one every month, whether that be a workshop or a presentation with a speaker or a study group. So yeah, so definitely keep an eye out for those in the new year.
Amazing. Thank you, Heather. All right, moving on to developing a shared understanding. So this also helps us activate our community because it raises awareness and brings in new cats. And a lot of this has to do with stories and with publishing. And again, we've got a lovely stat slide to kick us off in this section. So we published 21 blog posts this year, out of which one was a report, which we'll talk about in a second. This report as well was completely volunteer and community organized. We also kept up our weekly newsletters, which is now sent to over 6,000 subscribers, with about 3,000 of them taking a look every single week. And thanks to our cat volunteer, Sid, as I already mentioned, we greatly increased our LinkedIn presence as well, and he'll talk about that in a second. So first up, the EcoWeb project. It started off as a very organically, cats came together organically in our Slack community for this project. And the aim was to raise awareness and motivate collaboration between departments and create more sustainable websites. So we had 31 cat members banding together to analyze over 500 websites. And the group also conducted a survey to get a deeper level of understanding of sustainability strategies in companies. And finally, they put together this report that summarizes the findings. And the report was published in July this year on our website, so you can find it on the blog, and you can download it from there as well. Secondly, volunteers Elisa and John also collaborated to inspire the community with different cat climate career stories on our blog, so you can find those there as well. Then we've got the newsletter. Thanks to our volunteer Maggie, our newsletter is still going strong. Maggie took over the bulk of this work in March, and with her help, we can keep cats informed beyond the Slack community. In these weekly editions, we include community highlights, we include events, podcasts, news highlights, job listings, and sometimes papers we love as well. And then last but not least, we have our awareness raising on LinkedIn. Sid.
Yeah, so it was a great learning experience for me to run this LinkedIn, raising cat awareness through LinkedIn. It helped us to attract new members. I don't know whether it's just because of my effort, but because of the effort of the entire community, because everyone was writing blog posts and everyone was tagging each other through different cat members. So that also helped. So organically, we are not used any advertisement, nothing, but organically we have around grown 624 followers this year, I think, and it was because of, as I said, posting this blog post and events, and which we are looking forward to next year also, where people write blog posts. That is what we have seen increases the reach. And of course, the major aspect is running on communities, running meetups, especially offline meetups where people actually meet for coffee and click photos and present and post them. So that helps to boost the views. So yeah, so we encourage everyone to write blog posts, facilitated workshops, events. We can promote them on LinkedIn. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sid. And now coming back somewhat full circle for a brief moment. Chris in the beginning talked about our questions and ideas channel themes. And one of the themes for this month is, well, the theme for this month is about reflection. So if you have something that really stuck with you this year from the CAT community, do go to our questions and ideas channel and share it there in the thread. That can be a conversation with someone that you met through the CAT Roulette program. It can be a link that was shared on Slack that just, stuck with you, an eye-opening moment from one of our events. Share it with the community. We'd love to hear it. All right. Tons of progress on programs and projects throughout the year, but we also talked in the beginning about being successful with some structural changes to keep the community going and improve it. So first up, we welcomed 2 new organizers to the group. Number 1 was Eugene. Do we have Eugene on the call yet? No. Okay. I shall speak to this slide. Eugene did say that he had a conflict. So Eugene joined us, I think, in March and has been contributing to automation, making sure that we have self-hosted systems and secure workflows. A lot of the behind the scenes of CAT is now built on open source tools, which is really exciting. We also got a lot of help from Eugene with the Slack community bot that I mentioned in the beginning. So this helps us collect detailed statistics and make more sense of how our community is performing. Performing is the wrong word. Whether people are active, whether they're good. And then Eugene also brought in the OKR process at the halfway point in the year to help us with planning as well. So great progress already from those first, it's coming up to almost a year, I guess, next year, which is cool. Secondly, we had Heather rejoin us. Heather, over to you.
Hello. Maybe a familiar face to some of you, new face to others. Yes, I rejoined as an organizer after a brief hiatus away from tech for about a year. Came back to revitalize the events, which, I mean, to be fair, there were still events going on while I wasn't here. So, I mean, it's not just me doing them. Plenty of local events, but yeah, trying to do some more thematic things like you've seen with the responsible AI, trying to gear up different local sides of things where Fiona's, jumped in as well as Sid in India and Switzerland. So trying to make sure that we have a physical local event presence wherever we are, if possible, as well as some online events. So to do this early next year, I'm going to create some somewhat more of a structure so that everyone can feel free to organize these events and with a good, a good backbone of frameworks and advice and CSE and everything behind them. So to make sure that there are local, safe and welcoming. If you're interested in organizing some events, let us know. But yeah, very excited to be back. Sorry for the lack of camera. I am usually an advocate for cameras, but I am very ill, so nobody wants to see this. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Heather. Good to have you back. The Assembly. I believe Fiona's going to speak to this.
Yeah, that's right, me again. So the Assembly was newly formed this year with the purpose of putting together a group of people who could help make decisions representing the CAT community. It's a wider group of volunteers. You can see all of the names who participated in 2025 on the right. I won't read out every single one of them, but they are there. So what did we achieve this year? We did manage to establish a decision-making process. we got elected co-chairs. I think we were elected through lack of competition. So Ariel is our facilitation co-chair. I am the communications co-chair, so here I am communicating. And Melissa has been standing in as our operations co-chair as well. Some of the decisions that we did discuss and get through. So we talked about CAT representative vetting, reviewing the new Slack channels, providing feedback on community management and organizer selection. And there's much more of that to come next year. So also contributing to CAT's direction, the community actions, and coalition building.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Fiona. And then last but not least, the last structure highlight of this section, Melissa.
Hi, thanks. So this year, Kat joined the Green Software Foundation as a member. And if you don't know, the Green Software Foundation is a place where green software standards, tools, and best practices are defined. So joining them really helps us continue the discussions that we're having internally with a larger enterprise community and with other climate organizations. So just as an example, their members include corporations like Cisco, Google, Microsoft, as well as climate groups like Electricity Maps and Leaders for Climate Action. And it's our hope that the cross-pollination of ideas will benefit us all. And this year, CAT member Alexander Dotson joined the GSF Sci for WebAssembly. So I'll let him talk about that for a bit.
Yeah, sorry, got a bit of a bug, so hopefully my voice will hold out. So the thing with the SCI for Web project, I don't know if any of you are already aware of the existing GSF's SCI standard. The SCI standard is essentially a way of being able to model and measure the carbon intensity of software. And GSF have done a good job on creating a way of being able to measure software. But obviously, software is one thing, but the web and things like AI and other forms of measurement are something else entirely. So the GSF are working to sort of branch out from that initial ISO standard specification, and they are creating additional models and additional ways of trying to be able to measure the carbon intensity involved in things like AI, which is going to be coming soon down the track, and the one which I'm working on alongside many others, which is the SCI for Web. And the whole idea of the SCI for Web is it's going to take into account all these sort of different factors which you would commonly see involved in creating websites and apps and all the different complexities involved. Because as we know with the web, it's a lot more of a complicated story than simply what you would have in a more controlled environment with just plain software. So we're trying to make it as hopefully all-encompassing as possible. You know, there's things to take into account such as third parties because they create emissions, and you've got all of the different sort of vectors, whether it's a plain website, you know, something static versus something more dynamic, and hopefully having some kind of standard that people can build upon and go, okay, well, this is a good way that I can think about how to measure all of these different things. It will provide a starting point where people can work from and build upon to try and get a better way of measuring websites, because we do have models currently, things like the sustainable web design model, but they're not perfect. Most of the models out there currently work on data transfer, and data transfer isn't the best way of measuring things. Obviously, adding this will hopefully be another way of measuring. We're not saying this is obviously going to be perfect, but it's another way of measuring which will hopefully bring more accuracy and another way of trying to increase awareness and bring better clarity around measurement. So that's what we're sort of trying to bring with all of the stuff that we've been sort of debating over and trying to work out the nuance of.
Amazing. Alyssa, did you want to
Thanks.
add anything else about next year?
Yeah, I think we're still learning about what it means to be a member at GSF, and they have like pretty structured way of making decisions and talking about these topics. So as we learn about new opportunities to get involved, we'll announce them in the announcements channel and in the newsletter as they come up.
Amazing. Thank you both. All right. That's all in terms of CAT projects, official CAT projects and programs. We will now highlight a few select CAT member projects. These are from our CAT member pause presentation, which is also linked in this presentation. Member pause is the abbreviation for projects, actions, wins, and stuff you learned at CAT. So starting off, device repair. We had some learning and action in that on that topic. And in our repair channel, cats have been learning about extending the lifespan of their devices. This includes repairing for others at repair cafes like Sam Shared, as well as personal item repair for mice, laptops, and more. Cats have also been continuing to work on measurement. So CAT member Marina created this Earth framework to measure and improve sustainability. And this is also linked in the deck. Continuing on the theme of tools and guidelines, CAT member Max launched the Climate Action Plan for developers on GitHub, and this was a great way of raising awareness and inspiring action as well. Then awareness raising at the company level often happens a little bit more under the radar, but Gunstein has been bringing in a great example of this topic by getting an avoid frivolous AI usage clause into the company AI usage guidelines. Another super practical example is the icon set that Rose worked on this year. So these are SVG icons designed for minimal code and minimal rendering complexity to boost performance and save carbon. And there will also be a launch and learn event about this project next year. Then conversations in the CAT Slack have also led to improvements to the W3C web sustainability guidelines, which Alexander has shared as well. And CAT member Mike also raised awareness on these guidelines through public speaking. Multiple cats, I think, have been involved actively in this project, which has been great to see as well. And then when it comes to public speaking, bringing sustainability talks and conversations into tech conferences is another key way in which CAT members take action. So the example here is from CAT member Wilco, who advocated for sustainability at the ICT Open event in the Netherlands. But that's far from everything. Whether it's actions at work or in the industry, CAT members have been busy this year, so definitely make sure to check out the full presentation. All right, that was most of the stuff that happened in 2025. There is more, as I just said, but those were some of the highlights. Now, time to look into the future. And we've got a few ideas in terms of goals we want to achieve in 2026. So the main focus will be on increasing our impact. And there's 3 areas that we want to look at in more detail. One of them is about developing leaders in CAT. So we want to make sure that the volunteer experience is a really good one, and we want to recruit more volunteers to run projects and keep the community going and expand our programs. We also want to ensure that that CAT members can be active in participation and taking action. So we want to make sure that the participation is easy on Slack and during events. We want to encourage cats to develop and share expertise in digital sustainability through conversations and publishing. And we want to kick off more member-led projects with our mini grants program. And then lastly, for pushing the industry, this is about taking action at work and in the industry. Here we want to develop new campaigns. So one thing that's been talked about in the community over the past few months is an open letter to Microsoft to demand more investment in customer sustainability. So more on that next year. And there's a potential to collaborate with other NGOs. We had a good conversation with a lot of European-based NGOs at the Green IO Paris event, and we want to keep that going and collaborate where we can. That's it for 2026, but that's not all in terms of stuff that you can help us with. So if you have ideas for improving the community or just feedback about the community in general, please, please, please fill out our member survey. This is a super useful way for us to see who's in the community and then also figure out what's needed and create programs based around that. So the link is in the chat and on the slide as well. Please do take the time to fill it out. And with that, we're going into the thanks slides, because this community would not be possible without our members, our volunteers, and those who support us financially. So let's start with that. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting us financially with recurring or one-off donations through Open Collective. These donations pay for the software that we use, and they help pay for our mini grants. So yeah, thank you so much. Secondly, a massive, massive thanks goes out to all of our volunteers. You make the community welcoming, you ensure that there's safety, you work on so many different projects with your own energy and in your own time. We wouldn't exist without you. So from channel hosting and moderation to publishing, helping behind the scenes, event publishing, event moderation, everything is hugely, hugely appreciated. So thank you so much. And then finally, a massive thank you to everyone on this call for being an active CAT member, showing up, but also to everyone who's contributed to conversations throughout this year and connected for meaningful dialogue and collaboration, shared knowledge, stayed curious, highlighted spam incidents, shared ideas, and just improved the community with who you are and what you bring to the conversation. You all matter, and without you all, we also wouldn't have a community. So thank you so much, everyone. And that is it for this year. We will be back next year with more events, more Slack conversations, and more action.